You wake up in the middle of the night, or at least you think you did. Your eyes are open, your mind feels awake, but something about it feels wrong. The room looks exactly the same as always. The same bed, the same wall, the same silence. Nothing seems out of place, and yet everything feels off. You try to move, and you can't. You try to speak, but nothing comes out. It's as if your body has shut down, as if it no longer belongs to you. Your body feels heavy, frozen, no longer responsive. Every attempt to move fails. Control simply disappears, and panic begins to grow. Your heart starts racing, your breathing becomes shallow. Before fear even sets in, you feel something else. Presence. The clear, unmistakable feeling that you are not alone in the room, even though you haven't seen anything yet. Then you see it, and the moment you do, your fear takes shape, a shape impossible to ignore. Standing in the room, usually near the door or at the foot of the bed, there is someone who should not be there, but is. A human figure, far too tall, completely dark. You can't see a face, you can't see eyes, only the outline, solid and unsettling. And on its head, a hat, an old-fashioned hat with wide brims, something that doesn't belong to this time, as if it came from another era. It doesn't run, it doesn't attack, it makes no sudden movements, and that's exactly why it's terrifying. It doesn't rush towards you, it simply stands there, watching you in absolute silence. Millions of people around the world describe exactly the same thing, the same details, the same sensations. And this is the detail that turns the experience into something far more disturbing than a simple nightmare, something that seems to go beyond imagination. This being became known as the Hat Man, a simple name for something unexplainable, and it is the most frequently reported entity during episodes of sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis happens when the mind wakes before the body. The brain wakes up, but the body remains asleep. A synchronization error, a short circuit between mind and body. It's relatively common. Millions of people experience it. But what is not common is what so many people see during it. Shadows, figures, presences, feelings of pressure, fear and threat, and above all, him. Always him. The same shape, the same unnatural height, the same motionless posture, the same suffocating silence. People who have never met each other, who have never spoken to one another, from different countries, from completely different cultures, different religions, opposing beliefs, children, adults, elderly people, all describing the same man, the same dark silhouette, the same hat, as if they were all recounting the very same experience. Some report seeing him for the first time in childhood, when the mind is still forming. A child awakes in the middle of the night, unable to move, and sees that man standing in the room, watching in silence, not understanding what is happening, not knowing how to name the fear. Years pass, the child grows up, life changes, new responsibilities appear. Then, during a moment of extreme stress, grief, or emotional exhaustion, sleep paralysis happens again, and he's there, in the same place, in the same way, with the same posture, as if he never left. What is most frightening is not the appearance, not the hat, not the darkness. It's the behavior. The Hat Man rarely does anything. He doesn't scream, he doesn't threaten, he doesn't touch you. He watches, and many people describe the clear sensation that he's not there by chance, that he knows exactly who you are, as if he recognizes you, as if the encounter were not random. Some reports say he moves closer, slowly, step by step. Others say he remains completely still, motionless throughout the entire episode. Some say he slightly tilts his head,
as if analyzing something, as if evaluating you from head to toe. But almost no one says he speaks. The silence is absolute, a heavy silence, suffocating and impossible to ignore. And there is an even more unsettling detail. In many cases, the fear doesn't come immediately, it comes later. What comes first is a strange emptiness, a sense of something being wrong, as if something were deeply broken on a level you can't explain, as if the encounter was not only physical, but psychological, or something beyond that. Science tries to explain the phenomenon. It says that during sleep paralysis, the brain creates visual hallucinations caused by intense fear. It speaks of primitive brain activation, survival instinct, panic response. And that makes sense, up to a point, because hallucinations usually vary. They change shape, they change appearance, they mix personal fears, cultural elements, daily life imagery. But the Hat Man does not change. The same hat, the same height, the same posture, the same place in the room, the same silence, the same sense of being watched, the same oppressive presence, always the same. So the inevitable question appears: why do millions of brains create exactly the same figure? Some psychologists suggest he is an archetype, a representation of fear of the unknown, of death, of constant surveillance, a form the unconscious created to give a face to invisible danger. But that explanation doesn't solve everything. It still leaves too many questions, too many loose ends, too many coincidences, and too few answers. Other traditions go further. In spiritual and occult accounts, the Hat Man is not a symbol. He would be an entity, something real that manifests when the human mind enters a liminal state, a state between sleep and waking, between the conscious and the unconscious, a moment when mental defenses are lowered. And there is one detail that chills even skeptics. Some people report that the experience doesn't end there. Even after they regain movement, even after the paralysis ends, the sense of presence remains for a few seconds. Some swear they can still see him, standing there, watching, not moving, before he simply disappears, without sound, without movement, without explanation. There are also reports of people who changed deeply after these encounters: intense anxiety, fear of sleeping, a constant feeling of being watched, as if something had been awakened or as if something had begun to pay attention to them. The Hat Man tends to appear at very specific moments in life: periods of emotional exhaustion, grief, depression, existential crisis, radical changes, moments of inner rupture, as if he were drawn to fragility, or as if he were there simply to observe those internal breaks. And perhaps the most disturbing question of all is this: what if he isn't there to scare you? What if he's only observing, confirming something, waiting for something, waiting for you to cross some invisible threshold? Because if there is one thing almost all reports have in common, is this: after seeing him, no one sleeps the same way again. The room never feels completely empty. Darkness is never just darkness, and every time the body starts to feel heavy before sleep, the fear is not the paralysis, is not being unable to move. The fear is opening your eyes and seeing him there again.